What is up, sports fans? My name is Jake Azuski. You can call me Jake Iggy or Iggy for short. And this is Iggy's Sports Talk. So I greatly appreciate everybody tuning in to episode 46 of Iggy's Sports Talk. And if you have not yet, go over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and subscribe to the podcast and also give me a rating. I would greatly appreciate it. And today I have a very special guest on the show with me. He is a rapper and hip hop artist by the name Storm.Aka.Storm. So how's your day going so far?
It's good, man. It's going good so far. I'm chilling.
Did you watch the Super Bowl?
Um, I did not. I wanted to watch it.
You didn't miss too much.
I had so many different things going on, work and real life stuff. But I thought, I was basically watching the points. So
Hmm.
I saw them go up by like I think it was 1-7 at one point, and then
Right.
like I was like, oh my god.
It was bad.
Um, and I kind of, when I was watching it or when I, to it, I was kind of thinking, Brady's probably gonna pull it out again. I don't know if when he said his last year was gonna be too, as far as like playing. I feel like he still has some time ahead of him, but
Hmm.
I kind of knew that like with this, him getting to this point, I was like, all right, I didn't. I guess I was like Tampa's probably gonna pull this out. He's probably gonna
Right.
pull this out, and it's gonna be. I was hoping it was gonna be a great game. I feel like it was still a good game, but
Not
everyone was
compared to
waiting
what
for
it
the
was
the
supposed to
comeback
be.
of the score, but it just didn't happen.
Yeah, not unfortunately not compared to what it was
Right,
supposed to be,
right, right,
obviously.
right.
Funny enough, when it turned over to the fourth quarter, I mean the Buccaneers were up like I forget what the exact score was, but they were still up by like 20 points. And I looked over at my boy who had DraftKings open. I'm like, put $10 down on the Chiefs right now at the start of the fourth. I'm like, you know what? If I lose the $10, I lose the $10. But if the Chiefs come back and that $10 turns into, $80 in my pocket, like that'll
Yeah.
be worth it. But yeah,
Hmm.
I was very happy for Brady. But obviously, just as like a sports fan, I wished it was a much better game because you had two of these incredible quarterbacks going up against each other. And it kind of reminded me of the Patriots and Rams game where is that this one right here, 13 where the Patriots won 13-3, Super Bowl
Hmm.
51. Like I say it all the time. Like when they won that game, it was weird. Like I wasn't like excited like I was like with the other games. Like when the Patriots obviously came back from the Falcons, like I was through
Right.
the roof because they came back 28-3. But with this one, like it was so anticlimactic that I'm like, wait,
Hmm.
we won? Oh, we won! Yay!
Yeah. Exactly. 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 It's just very much like, oh, okay, yeah. And it's just like,
we
which
we
I
had
mean,
we had
you
also
can't hold
been
it against either team. They
right.
came out and played.
Exactly. Yeah. No. Yeah. I was
Thing,
just gonna say that the Pats were also in the Super Bowl for 3 years in a row. So like at that point, like as a Pats fan, like at 20 years old, where I've seen they've been in nine Super Bowls and like whatever, like 17, 18 years, just crazy.
yeah. Yep, yep, yep. I mean, but I mean, he's. It's just a testament to how great of a quarterback he is,
Exactly.
and can lead a team and how he can, work with the team. So
Yeah, exactly, 100%. Looking back on 2020, obviously, it was an unprecedented time with a lot of ups and downs, but it sort of gave some people some time to learn more about themselves and also catch up on some shows that they were looking to binge as well. But I was curious, just looking back at your 2020, if you could think of the best moment of that year, what would it be?
man, the best moment 2020, man. It would have to be. Trying to think what was. I mean,
You're
I
like,
was
what did I
working
even
on
do?
some stuff, music wise. I had a couple of things in the works. I know,
Hmm.
I know. A couple things I had. I got to see. I think during that time, it was nice. One of the biggest things I would have to say is just birthday a little bit before everything got shut down. So I was able to like chill out with a lot of my friends and family and stuff like that. That can't take any of that for granted. So kind of looking back on that, it was nice to have those people around me and celebrate with me
Right.
where to see them again. We all obviously kept in touch during everything, and it's just nice to know you have those friends and family there for you. But I think that would probably be like the biggest big thing about what was going on. Like I had a couple of things in the works of 2020 that kind of like fell through because of everything going. That having my friends and family around was something big. So
Yeah, that must have been really nice, especially when you kind of like you just did look back on the moment and you're like, wait, I wasn't able to see them after that for like months, and it's thank God
yes.
your birthday fell really at the best time it could, because at least for myself, like obviously last year, like I was going through a period where most of my friends were turning 21. And so luckily my birthday was in January, so I got to obviously celebrate with friends, but friends who had birthdays right after, in March, like in April too. I even had a friend's
Yeah.
mom who made like a bar at the end of his driveway and like a table, and I bet you saw those videos. Like she checked the ID, like, oh yeah, are you 21? Yeah, let me see. And yeah, it was pretty funny. And we all went up, had a drink together.
That's awesome.
But people just had to find creative ways to get around the difficulties of 2020. 100%.
Yeah, man. It was a good year for us to reflect on, keeping those connections together and working on those family and friends. It was a good year for, electronic conferencing and different things like that to be able
Right.
to talk to even family you may have in the world. So, as far as like, I think 2020 was good for us to get back to, being more human and connecting as a people.
I
So.
completely agree. It really allowed everybody to slow down, and take time to, like I said at the start, learn about themselves, learn about their relationships with other people as well. Because at least for myself, I'm an only child, so I have difficulties with being alone for long periods of time without like seeing people, because I'm such a social person, and I feed off of other people's energy. And so thank God, obviously, I was with my mom during that time, but I can't imagine, just having to be alone and quarantining for 2 3 months. But yeah, I if I did that, I would record a lot of podcasts and watch a lot of TV.
Yeah, man. I mean, I definitely tried to keep in touch and keep checking on a lot of friends that I knew kind of lived alone, but I just wanted to check in on them and see how they were doing. And we would
Right.
try to routinely have little, Zoom meetings with the friends.
Mhm.
Drink a little bit, maybe play a couple games or so. But
Right.
that said, just checking friends and making sure, that everybody's good is always important, and something that we try to do during the whole time too. So.
Yeah, that's the most important thing, because the it really you know took a lot of people to or I'm sorry, it made people really focus on their mental health and that sort of stuff as well. And I was curious, just in somebody in your position, how difficult was it as a music artist, to be able to do things during last year?
So yeah, a lot of things definitely slowed down for music. And it was the hard part, like, was it made me focus a little bit more on like my social media stuff and connecting with my fans that way. Finding different avenues to do like shows or anything like that,
Hmm.
promotions wise, and even doing do more interviews like that. But it kind of one helped me work more on the music side of the craft and as well the social media side. Um, but all in all, like, it wasn't. It was hard. Like, don't get me wrong. It was a little bit. I
1000%.
feel like for a lot of artist friends that I knew, but um, it was just good. It was something to help, again, like, help us reflect on the music only, thing right now, and, like, figuring out different ways to connect with the people who, are inspired by the things you have to say, and not have a voice to you. So
Right.
yeah, I think that was something that definitely, helped us out during that time.
Yeah, because it must have been difficult, especially when this first all happened. Because especially in March, it was difficult to really forecast how long this was going to be. I remember I was talking to a lot of people. They're like, "Oh, we'll get a vaccine or something like that by December. It'll be all gone by November." And we're saying that in March, and now we're in February right now, and we're still dealing with it. But I was wondering really
Hmm.
ways you found to be able to adapt and really like when at what point did you really uh figure out you're like I'm going to be in this position for a little bit, this isn't going to just be a temporary sort of thing, so how am I going to be able to continue my career in something that I love to do and adapt in pretty much in my house to where I can't leave.
I mean, it was always, it's something that, like, I mean, if it's something you came out here for, and, a drive that you and a passion you have, figure out a way to make it work.
Right.
But during that time, I, thought of ideas for videos, and got with certain people to try to get video. Shot a music video. We did, like I said, I try to do, like, little shows, concert lives, different things to stay
Hmm.
to stay in the industry and keep moving with that. I brought back a thing where I would try to do, like, a verse every Friday to get interested. I would cover popular songs
That's cool.
that were out at the time, because the music industry was still pumping out songs as well. So
Hmm.
you got to be able to keep up, figure out your own, still keep yourself in that lane. Was kind of on the same, almost the same platform.
Right.
Could say it, but um,
Yeah,
yeah, man, just definitely just keeping in with that stuff is just, what you got to do. So
exactly. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it must have been very weird, sort of situation, at least in the moment. And must have taken a little bit of, been sort of like a learning experience to, adapt to all these new different ways that people are consuming music. I've noticed a lot on TikTok. TikTok has become a very big part of the music industry recently. And it's interesting that you brought up sort of, making songs off of different popular songs. That's something that I've seen a lot of people doing. And another idea that you might want to consider as well is I saw an idea that's really started to blow up. And I saw this kid, he was, taking comments of different scenarios that people said, and he would make songs out of them. And he would it would be like a 30-second, like minute song, but like you would really get a good glimpse of this kid's kind of flow and like how he makes music, and those videos really blow up.
Oh, okay. And he would just, like, comments off of his own social media, or
Yeah,
he would just think
he
other
would be
people
like,
who
comment a
are like,
story. He'd be like, comment a story that you want me to make a song about. And then like after he did one of them, people were just trying to get their comment shown on his videos. And so, I would be looking through and you'd see all these really interesting stories. But yeah, that's definitely have you dabbled a little bit in Instagram or like um TikTok's sort of algorithm of like reels and like that sort of stuff to try and grow your stuff?
oh yeah, yeah, I've definitely done that. I've tried full ideas for as well for, like, TikTok dances and stuff like that. But for a lot of my music, like, I try to, like you said, I'm story, and coming up with the comment thing is pretty good. But I'd always try to, like, take a certain track and kind of whatever the popular flip, flip the story and bring out like my own take on that story
Right.
as a whole. So, but yeah, to check some comments and see if you can make like a quick minute song. I might. Who is the artist? I might have to check him out if you
Yeah,
remember who
I'll
he is.
I'll I'll definitely send you a few of his videos because he does like R&B and he also does rap. But I remember he did one that's like on the top of my head right now. He was talking about how this girl's dad said that I'll either give you a car if you break up with your boyfriend or you like stay with your boyfriend. And the girl picked the car. And so I remember like one of the lines he's like don't I don't want a Lexus, I don't want a Cord, like any he like made like a whole like thing into it. But yeah, I can definitely send you a few of those clips. But yeah, it's interesting how social media has really changed sort of the whole landscape, or also like how you're able to get discovered as well in terms of music, because we used to have like The Voice, American Idol, and that's kind of, or you had to know somebody to really be able to get into the game.
Yeah, that's you changed it up, and but I think that I think they're starting to figure out different ways to get that going. So even with everything going on, I think they'll still figure out ways to keep contestants and stuff like that and contest shows going like that, because like you said, it is a nine talent that you can't find, and there's also a lot of money in the shows that they do. So
Right. And so I researched that you started writing songs when you were 8 years old, and I was wondering when you really realized that you had a passion for music.
so like for writing music, like my passion for writing music probably but as a child, like I always loved music. Like my mom and I, my mom was a single mother and we grew up and her, she worked two jobs and took us to different daycares and different babysitters and all this other stuff. But, always riding around with her, we different, like whether it's the Beastie Boys or it was like Crisscross, like back in the day, and like, that stuff, like, was it 90s, like 90s hip hop,
Right.
really grew with me just in my heart, you know what I'm saying? Just like the love and like that, happiness and like how it, my together we would be like as well. So I've always loved music and how how it affected people, and I always wanted to around it. And then I think in middle school is when I really started writing and thinking, oh wow, this could be really cool. But I never truly saw it as a career until like when I started learning more behind like Kanye West and 50 Cent, and I learned how they took it as a business and just kind of you know decided it could be as well.
That makes sense. Yeah, and it must have also motivated you as well, just the whole sort of idea with how music is such like a mood changer. And at least for myself, like I have different music that I listen to with different moods, but especially if I'm having like a rough day or if I'm very anxious or tensed up at a certain point, just to be able to put on some slow rap or some like lo-fi or just something that like chills you out. And it's very crazy how it can really change your energy, and the vibrations have such an impact on humans. You know what I mean?
Mm, yeah, from infants all on, what I'm saying, they say music. I mean, even people with dementia and different things. Remember a song that from 15 years ago that they played at their wedding or something like that, and maybe
Right.
that'll help jog back the loved ones that were there. But it is like you said, it's crazy how much music influences us as people. And I've always loved her, whether it was hip hop, rock, country, whatever. Like, there are certain genres, I can gravitate to certain songs. One, like you said, and two, the instruments. Like
Right.
some of my favorite instruments, people, I love the violin. Like a lot of string instruments are my favorite instruments that,
Yeah.
people are like, oh, I love that stuff. And percussion, like, don't get me wrong, love drums, love 808s, love
Hmm.
kicks, love all that stuff. But string instruments, like I said, the violin, I think is the most beautiful on the planet. So
I
much.
yeah, especially like when I'm like doing my homework and stuff, I like to listen to a lot of like soft guitar, soft piano, like jazz, like that sort of stuff to really get me relaxed and that sort of stuff. But I was wondering, sort of, you brought up how you had some of your influences like Kanye West. I also read that some of your influences were Tyga and B.O.B. and also Big Sean as well. And I was curious how all those people really sort of inspired your current flow and type of music that you currently make.
I mean, Big Sean, I think, man, yeah. I mean, Kanye and 50 were the ones that kind of gave me an writing was like and how you have your story. These are two different artists that were completely different at their time. You know what I'm saying? You had the backpack rapper as Kanye West, rapper as 50 Cent, and at some point they were kind of battling in their career. So it was kind of interesting to see. But learning when Tyga learned different things like from Tyga, I kind of understood like what more about singles and like what the purpose of like they help promote your albums and different things like that and what type of singles you're kind of looking for. Big Sean kind of helped change a little bit in kind of way that like I worded things and um his like charismatic like tone on certain just I
Right.
gravitated to as well because it made it more relatable. And then J. Cole's he was also someone who I really gravitated to his stories and the like energy he put behind it.
Right.
So I things from people that I listened a lot to and that I think molded who I am as an artist.
That's really cool. Yeah, J. Cole is such a vibe. Especially with some of his bars. I think it's always interesting when people try to put disrespect on his name in any sort of way. I'm like, have you heard all the stuff that he's put out? Like he doesn't miss. But
Right.
I was wondering. So
He's
you went to Ohio University, and I was wondering, did you go to that university in intention of getting a full degree and using that degree as your career, or did you kind of have in the back of your mind that you were a little bit interested in music as well?
I feel like for most people in that age range, I had like three different things I really wanted to do. I wanted to play sports. I wanted to do music. I wanted to be in the Air
Yeah,
Force, and um, I wanted to be an engineer, science engineer. I
interesting.
was good at a lot of those things. I was doing ROTC at the time. I'm just trying to figure out who I was, find out college is about that I think people miss. You're not. It's yes, you get the SAT scores, and you're just gonna be this thing, but the whole point of it is to learn not only who you are, but also to learn these studies and be a
Right.
well besides high school. Like high school, I guess it's supposed to like kind of make you a regular individual, but I feel like when you're going to college, you're more beyond what the average teacher can provide.
Right.
And if you change, what I'm saying, if you change your mind, people who started out as a career in business who are now like I don't know who are now doing floors. I don't know. You don't I think a lot of people get stuck and you get frustrated and you get like scared and you're stuck. And I think of college dropout, Kanye was trying to tell people like go to school for don't go to school thinking you only have to get this and this is going to be your only don't get
Right.
there and life is over and whatever else like it's there for you to learn and it's there for you to grow and there are going to be other options that being happy it's like the finances yes everyone wants to have high finances you want to have that but you need to find something one that you know that you can two okay to mess up and it's okay to change your mind on things. That's
Right.
totally fine.
1000%. I think I'm a perfect example of exactly what you just said. For my first 2 years of college, I was a business student and I was focusing on sales. I was focusing on getting a business degree. And going into my junior year, I sort of took a step back when I was looking for internships. And I'm like, I'm not passionate about any of this business stuff that, is being offered with internships. And my advisor said, "Well, what are you passionate about?" And I said, "Well, I love talking about sports." I'm like, anytime I talk about sports with anybody, I get a huge smile on my face. And, I just feel all this passion come out. And they're like, "Well, that's your passion. That's your why." And, I had a lot of people that told me, you might not graduate on time. Like it's going to be difficult for you to differentiate yourself. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing right now, talking to you, doing this podcast, just finding ways to, grow, learn and experience different stuff. But it's interesting that you brought that up because I was thinking about something very similar actually last night, just laying in bed about how, they talk about college as being a $30,000 vacation, which I think that college costs way too much for the value that I'm getting off of it. But at the same time,
Yeah, it
um,
really does.
I thought about it, and I have a lot of people in my life who either go to college online or they just went right into the workforce and didn't even do school. And you don't have to do school, but it's just the whole portion of it, like you said, where you learn about yourself. And I was thinking about it a lot. I'm like, I wonder if those people in high school who, didn't go to college, which is completely fine. I wonder if they're exactly the same how they were, or I wonder if like, their experiences like outside or just being in the real world has given them sort of the experiences that I've had of, being uncomfortable, finding ways to be comfortable being uncomfortable, and going through these different social situations to where you don't know what to do, but you have to figure it out because you're a big boy now, you know what I mean? And it's interesting just thinking
Yeah.
about some people who try and diss college just based off of the amount of money, and sometimes some people don't get as much out of it as others do. But yeah, I completely agree with you that it's a great way for you to learn more about yourself and get experiences that you never really can get in just like the real work world.
Exactly. There's just, I mean, there are some advantages, obviously, going through it, but when you look, most of the time, the people that have gotten certain jobs that they're looking for, it's because they were in a fraternity at that school, and it's
Right.
not just that. Like, sure, they may have learned here and there things that you're gonna get to that job. They're gonna say, hey, Joe, remember everything they taught you? Here's
Right.
glad glad dad, your dad, me and your dad hooked you up. We got you. You're set. That's
Yeah.
usually with most jobs, they're like, learn scratch literally what we're teaching you to work here. Like,
Right.
so there are some fields where you obviously need some background, but I feel like even as a scientist, there are certain things the fundamentals of stuff, but we're
Mhm.
working with this new toothpaste thing, and we're trying to find a good chemical that can do this. So it's not like it's like you said, there's that you take from it, that I think are little advantages, and I think school, going to college, gives you insights into different. So you're more not a lot of different things, but not to say that you're smarter than other people. You just have more of a background in other areas
Right.
at different, what I'm saying, into different
Exactly.
fields a lot easier than most.
That's one of the biggest reasons why during quarantine, actually, or not during quarantine, but during the whole COVID situation, I went on a 2 week road trip with some friends because I was just so used to just New England and being from this small town in this very isolated place. And it was very interesting going through states like Kentucky, West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania. It was very interesting to see, small houses on the side of the road, and then you don't see anything for another, 10, 20 miles. And it was very interesting having, kind of like you said, those different experiences, becoming a little bit more wiser. And just it's very interesting to see how those different experiences can really help you. But I was wondering, so when you got the opportunity to open for somebody like Bob, which who's such an inspiration for you, I was wondering, sort of like, what was your reaction when you found out, and how was the experience of that?
I was very excited. I got talk with him a little bit, but he was there obviously, to meet a lot of the fans that had come early to see like that. The coolest part was, one, I knew I was at a venue with um, I feel like fans that also would like my music. Was the most exciting part about it. It was my chance to show, people that I knew, okay, these people will like, will kind of gravitate because I know to him and I know that we have the same type of thing. And it was great,
Right.
when I performed, these people that, did not know who I was were, after, like, dude, you really helped, set this up for, I was excited to just see B.O.B. and then I got to meet Storm, and it was really cool. And that experience, I think that was the coolest part, is that I don't go, I would love to open for any artist. Like, don't get me wrong, about that artist and like being there for who that person is. It's kind of about, I feel like what you want to try to do is, similar to you can, you know, facilitate with their fans as well, and not take their fans, but you're trying to learn, and you are trying to be same, that same panel of openers. You're trying to be, or your sound is similar. You're trying to reach that same level. So you're
Right.
looking in, they do their meet and greet. What was he doing? How did he work with the sound people? Like, so it was a good experience. It was I was not there when I got it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be opening up for B.O.B. It was surreal. It's like, okay, like someone thinks that someone else believes this kid will draw some people enough. To
Right.
them, it's just another local artist that can help bring some people for B.O.B. But for me, it was the same thing. I knew B.O.B. was bringing people that would in turn be into me. So it's a
Exactly.
trade off, but it was very exciting.
Yeah, that must have been incredible. And that kind of goes into one of my last questions that I had for you, which was sort of like looking back on your journey throughout your music career. What's one of the biggest things, or number one thing that you're most proud about?
The biggest thing is I'm most proud about. I did a um, I did a high school tour in Southern California probably about years ago. Yeah, 3 or 4 years ago, and there was a guy that set the whole thing up, and he was supposed to send out, made for each high school, so that they knew I was coming. Some schools he didn't send it to, other schools he did, so the kids kind of knew. But it was to like inspire some of these kids and just give them a different outlet. There were kids that later up and they'd be like, "Oh, I got you into music," and I would always like try to help them out. Other
That's
kids
cool.
that were just nervous about different things and wanted insight about it, would inspire kids in a good way and try to show them something different than just as a kid, you want to see someone kind of a little bit older than you, but not older, and like see them doing their thing. You're like, man, like, and I'm like, school is important like that. Like, same love school, like, but it's also about keeping the connections you have with your friends, like, and
Exactly.
everything like that. And I think, yeah, just having, they would hit me the blue sometimes, and it just made me proud that they, wanted to keep a connection with me like that, and that I, at least of an impression. They wanted to, know more about me and ask advice from me, someone they don't truly know, but obviously I genuinely want to be there for them. So, yeah, I'd say probably that was probably something I was very proud of.
That's amazing, my man, for real. Especially like giving back to kids, and especially like giving kids a different outlet. Some people, around the country, especially some kids at high school, uh, they're not in the best position sometimes, and especially in high school is the time where they're most confused, and are trying to understand sort of what is happening. Going through puberty, trying to figure out what is going on in my mind. Why
Mm-hmm.
why am I feeling anxious for some weird reason? So that's really incredible, man.
Yeah, man, it's cool. Like, and like you said, now even with social media being a big kids, it's hard, but I'm trying to figure out ways to talk with them and get them to understand and just because image is for a kid. I'm even for me in high school, I remember my image, but I didn't have Instagram or anything that crazy at that time. Like
Right,
it can be daunting, and how I can feel like you have to look cool, or or you're never gonna be, what I'm saying, you're never gonna be whatever you want to be, and
right.
it's just like it's so important to to a kid.
1000%. Well, Storm, it's been a pleasure talking to you today. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. And for all my listeners, go on to Spotify, Apple Music, or SoundCloud. Look up Storm, aka.Storm, and you won't be disappointed. He's got some great stuff out. And I saw that your latest release was a song "If You Know, You Know." Correct?
Yes, the
Perfect.
music video's out and the single is out right now. Yeah.
Perfect. So everybody that's listening, go and check that out right now. Well, Storm, really appreciate you taking the time, and it's been a pleasure, my friend.